What was it like to see or to hear? I mean, just this absolute sense that play. Except for you guys.
It's a beautiful thing to hear when you play it on the road. It's a beautiful thing to hear. Come on, man, we love that.
Yeah.
The vibe of the reset timeout is very interesting, at least for us. Is that kind of because you talked about we got to guard, but also I don't know, it's kind of an interesting wrinkle. It feels like.
Yeah, I know. I feel like. I don't know, I really don't keep up too much on league changes and stuff until I get into the season. What is this? At first, when it first started happening. But yeah, it's interesting. You got to stay locked in and just be ready to play.
And Sandy talks a lot about how good you are on the roll. You said a screen, catch it, going downhill. Their switching has, I guess, thrown a wrinkle into that. So what's been the process of playing through that, adjusting, whatnot?
I mean, their switching has, but I also feel like this last game I was kind of off ball a little bit more. Like I didn't set as many screens, and I think I need to get back into that a little bit more to help us be successful. Because we can still take advantage of the switch, and either pass the ball ahead or move it to still get the ball into the paint. I think we weren't as aggressive in doing that as we could have been or should have been. I mean, I think that's an area that we can exploit against them.
Because game 2, it felt like it's more than game 1 and game 3. You set the screen, seal, and high-low, stuff like that. You feel like that. I mean, it felt that was successful from our end. Successful on the court.
Yeah, most definitely. What, Benija? Most definitely. It's something that we can go to. And I think that's one of the things, though, with coaches and stuff, you have so many plays and you have so many people that are capable of doing different things that, I mean, no answer is really a wrong answer. Right. But there's still some things that you got to make sure that you keep exploiting in a series,
Yeah, and just the balance on offense. It feels, I don't know, it feels like we're talking about that all year. We're doing enough of this, doing enough of that. I guess, is that a unique experience for you, being on this team like that? Because every team has to go through that to some extent. I imagine.
I don't think it's that unique for me, to be honest. It's surprising, but I think I've kind of faced it different times in my career as well, to be honest. Yeah.
Just and also the value, because we talk a lot about the value provides spacing, not just 3-point shooting, but dragging the opposing rim protector away. How does that make your life easier, if at all? Because they talk about how that makes everybody else's life easier.
You're talking about me being able to space?
Being able to space.
Yeah, I mean, I think it adds to the team. I think there's nothing that you really bring to the team that, I don't know, I don't really know how to answer that. I feel I'm there, I'm open, and the fact that I can do multiple things, it kind of just allows me to affect the game in different ways. I feel like at the beginning of the game, it was more trying to get into the post, and later on in the game, they're going to leave me, then I'm going to shoot it. Even if I miss 2, I'm shooting the third one. The third one goes in, the game changes,
You were able to post up for it.
How
do you think your ability to sort of score at different levels sort of help unlock the offense to another level?
Yeah, I don't think she's gonna post up like that anymore. She's talking some shit to me too, so but just kind of taking what the defense gives me. If she wants to come up and pressure me like that, I'm gonna go by her, and if they leave me open for a shot, I'm gonna take the shot, just whatever they give me.
Have you been a shit talker?
No, not at all. Ignore everything. Yeah, just act like it didn't happen.
For you, have you watched the game back? What's your, routine after, when do you sit down and watch film?
Well, normally I do it the next day. I haven't gotten to do it yet because I'm recovering. But, I will do that today for sure.
All right. So, I guess I'll ask, how much of the, Brian mentioned the defense, how much of it is, Sandy always talks about being up to touch on screens and stuff. How much of a problem do you felt like that was at the beginning, or when Kayla and Bridget were, making threes?
Yeah, I think Bridget got those threes because we're overhelping a little bit and we were not good in our rotations because she's usually just taking open threes. McBride, she got some easy ones. We didn't rebound well, and then the offensive rebounds got her easy looks, and that gets her going, right? If you can't let a player like that get going. But we didn't blow up shit. We weren't up to touch. We weren't ready to switch on her. I think in the second half we did a better job.
And then just, you've obviously played in a bunch of big games in your career.
Yeah.
How does this environment, these finals, just the whole experience of it compare? Not necessarily compare, but just, your kind of takeaways just from this experience.
Honestly, hard to say because right now we're so into the moment, but like just playing in front of these people. I love to play away games, like in front of these crowds. I love this kind of atmosphere, so I'm just trying to soak everything in and enjoy every moment.
So I just want to follow up on that. Like, is it, I don't want to say easier, but is it easier to kind of get away from home sometimes in terms of like, when shit goes wrong, it feels like the whole building in Barclays gets anxious and a little worried?
You think it's like that? You feel it like that?
So I thought game 2,
Yeah.
like because you brutally lead in game 1.
Yeah.
I thought game 2 when they cut it to 4,
Yeah.
it felt like everybody's like, oh fuck,
Yeah.
this shit. And I don't know, it's hard to.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch me play, I don't really get into the emotions of the fans that much because it's just a roller coaster, right? Like, so I try to stay out of that, and I don't feel that. So, I feel them like screaming if we have like a good action or whatever, but I don't try to get into that, so I'm not bothered by it at all.
Maybe I'm projecting when I played in front of 50 people in high school.
Right.
No,
my bad, dude.
I think that was accurate. But what is it that you like about playing away?
I mean, the best thing is just silencing the crowd, right? Like, they're just screaming and cheering, whatever, and you're going to run, and they're silent. I mean, not silent, but, like, not as loud.
So you enjoy that?
Yeah, a little bit.
She's not a shit talker. You gotta have something. Thanks, Leo. Have you, like, watched the game like that back already? Because I asked Leo, she said, it's about watching the game last night. I don't know. Watch it back.
No, I haven't. You haven't?
Because I don't want to ask you questions like that are, whatnot.
It's like, for example, game 1, after I watched it that night. Yeah, but because, it ends different, I'm like, okay, I needed to like and so, no, I didn't. I'll watch it today for sure.
Because that was interesting, because I asked you after game 1, like, do you need time to, and you were like, no, like, I'm like locked in right now.
Yeah.
So is it really just the winning and losing that is?
To be honest, yeah, I mean, that's what it's about.
Okay.
Yeah. I wish I had a better answer for you, but it's like, it's so different at night when you're winning or losing.
No, I don't want you to lie. I'm doing a bad job. I asked JJ about it. Sandy talks a lot about getting JJ on the roll, how good she is going downhill. How do you think their switching at the point has disrupted that? How do you think you've been able to counter that, if at all? The wrinkle that's presented.
Yeah. I think it's all about physicality too. It's just like having them switch and do it. It's like they're jump switching too. It's not just like a soft switch that we can kind of play around. But I think what we did to counter is, like JJ got the ball at the high post and she just takes her. It's not always going to be a deep steal because they are physical. Their help side is really good, and it's not always easy. So at some point it's just breaking your man down. It's trying to get in the paint by just driving by them to relieve a little bit of pressure.
And how it seems like the entry passing, because of their help side, just seems complicated because if you throw it over the top, like, has that been an adjustment for you? Just everybody seems like. Yeah,
I think it's just not honing in on maybe the first initial. How hard it is because you get a mismatch. JJ has a guard on her, and all you want to do is get it to her. But everybody in the gym knows that too. So it's about being disciplined and knowing, like, okay, we're going to get you at a different time. It's not the best pass right now. Angles, all of those things play a part in it. But we've been doing this for a long time. It's just players making plays.
Yeah. Speaking of that, do you ever have moments where you allow yourself to be like, holy shit, some of the Stewie defensive plays? Or are you too locked in?
I mean, sometimes. She's pretty incredible. That rebound at the end of the game.
Before, I think the JJ goal. I think, the rebound.
Yeah, that when she went flying in there. I mean, there's not very many people in the league that can do that.
Right.
And this is coming from, something that we put a lot of load on. And I think, it's just, 7 steals the other day. Like, it's just, she's so. I'm just trying to be impactful, and I love that about her. So I do. I always am like, she makes incredible shots. She makes a lot of incredible shots, but I've come to expect that.
Yeah.
But the way she affects the game on the defensive end is unique.
I felt like that mindset kind of permeated the team, just like everybody having an impact. Like, for us, it felt like everybody who took the court last night had like stretch, key plays, like just big, like starting with you and Nyara off the bench. Like, did you feel like that?
Yeah. I think like I didn't really think about it like that until now. Like you're right, and honestly, I know it sounds cliche, but that's what it's going to take to win a championship. I look back at all the like teams that won. It's almost like they had one impact player that like made a big play or something in a game, and. Like we had our starters make really big plays, and then everybody came in and kind of did their job. And one game, even though it didn't feel great, it was enough.
Right.
But we got to be even better next time.
What was your mindset when you're watching them to get out to that hot start, and you and Nyara and Casey come in and stabilize things? Like when you're going in the game, you're like, okay, what do I have to do here? Are you kind of thinking that way?
Yeah. Of course, I'm like chomping at the bit, trying to get out there because I didn't feel like I could help them. We need a little bit of the energy shift, and it's not something huge. It's just maybe getting some free throw line, like just getting some ball pressure, just something different because that's what it takes. And I think that shift in the energy really helped, and our starters were able to come in and kind of settle down and play their game. It's not always easy when like they're making every shot. You're working so hard. It was like, to me, it was not an effort thing. They're out there playing their asses off, but you come in and make some shots. It's like it's difficult to shift it.
Yeah. What's the line between like? Because we expected, we were talking about okay, there's gonna be a game where K-Mac and BC make 10 threes. What's the line between expecting that but also not allowing it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a fine line.
You can't concede.
Yeah, you can't just say okay. Like that's the same thing as being like, we knew they were gonna make a run.
Right.
But like why? Why do they have to make a run? Why can't we stop them? But at the same time, these are really good players, really good shooters that they stick to it. So yeah, we kind of expected that they were going to have a game like that, but maybe Carlton's were a few of them were open, but Taylor's were shooting some tough, difficult shots, which she can, she's capable of doing, but we're not just out here giving her stuff.
No. So did you feel like you had the appropriate level of fear? That's not the right word, but you know what I'm saying. For them and the 3-point shooting, going in.
I like to think that we did. I really do, because this is a huge game. Game 3, you have at home. We know Kayla has the ability to do that. She plays really well at home. It was just, great offense. And she got them going, and the rim starts looking bigger for her. But I think, keeping with it, kind of making some adjustments a little bit closer. They started not falling.
Yeah, and then just last one. Conversely, it felt like you were right there. I kind of said this last night, but you just didn't have the big shot for second, third quarter. What's the level of? It really felt like there was a confidence, like these shots were going to fall. Eventually, someone's going to make a big three, whatever. Is that how it felt for you?
Yeah, I think what helped was they weren't scoring either.
Right.
It was we're getting stops on the defensive end. We, miss a few shots, make a few mistakes, but we're still feeling pretty good about where we're at because we're getting stops. If they're scoring, things are different. And I think that's kind of been a thing for us too. Is when things aren't going well offensively, our defense is affected. But last night it felt like even when things weren't going well, we were still getting stopped. I mean, it was 79 or 71 to 69 for what? 3 minutes. It felt like
3.5.
Yeah. So it's we were doing what we needed to do on the defensive end.
Yeah. Cheryl said that she was surprised how many stops they got and couldn't convert it into transition and flowing and stuff. Do you feel because I asked Ruth, we were talking okay, eventually there's going to be a game where K-Mac and Bridget hit a bunch of threes. Did you feel like you had the appropriate level of defense going into that there at first?
Yeah, look, I think we did, but we had some breakdowns. I think it wasn't about the defense. We just had some breakdowns and they made shots. So we had spoken about K-Mac's coming out. They need another scorer. We talked all about them. We can't give them out for threes. We've got to be able to touch. We've got to make sure we're executing it. But then they get one and then we turn it over and they get easy baskets. So really our turnovers were our Achilles heel. And if you're giving a great shooter an open look, then it's too easy. So once we upped our defense and we took care of the ball and our defense got up a little bit, then we could slow them down a little bit, especially in that second half. I don't know, K-Mac, what she had, 6 points in the second, and Carlton only had 4, so we could deal with that.
Speaking of coming in and not turning the ball over, it felt like, I think I walked in and talking about Sloot and Nyara. Nyara specifically, just how proud are you that she impacted the game by doing what she's good at, the drives, the activity.
And exactly what we needed, and that's what I was pumping her up this last. I said, this is going to be your series, and because she can get downhill, and we need, paint to break. We need people that can get into the paint, because otherwise this team is too good with their scrambles. We need to get cleaner looks, and that's why paint touches. She's always hitting the offensive board. She's always running. She just has effort. I mean, she was gassed 7 minutes straight. I think I played her. But really, really proud of her. And just her growth. I think in the second half, she had that turnover. I think got a little bit more nervous up from that. But, I see her minutes. Maybe we can give her some more minutes tomorrow, and she'll have fresher legs than some of the rest of them.
How tough is it for you, just because she's clearly this impactful player, but also Stewie and JJ? What's the battle for you as a coach?
Yeah, look, I think JJ, she's had some big minutes. She's battling. JJ, I mean, that's physical, that's tiring. So maybe that's where I could get a few more extra minutes for Nyara there with JJ. Stewie's sister Gazelle. She, we took her out because she had 2 fouls. And then I gave her a real short break in the third, just to give her a real reset there. And, I think it was great for her. She has to go 40 tomorrow. She will.
I asked JJ about, you talked about how she's good on the roll and she catches it downhill. They're switching, kind of throwing a wrinkle into that. How do you think you guys have responded, adjusted?
Yeah, probably not as well as we could. I think we did really well with Stewie in the switching, seeking out their smaller. We want to seek him, but we've got to make quicker decisions. We've got to see it. If it's not there, we've got to move it because of their congestion. And then in JJ, we're trying to don't dribble. It's either you're shooting it, being assertive, but trying to get her in the middle, trying to get her in those high lows. They're being really physical, but we've got to create the space. We still want to make sure, getting the touches where she can. But I think she's handled, the physicality as well as we would hope. I think, she's getting good looks, space to the basket, creating for others, and that's a part of it. If something's not working, what else can you do? Because you're not just a one-dimensional player, and she has so many different facets to her game.
Have you watched the game from last night yet? Because they were like, we have recovery. It's been a crazy 12 hours. Did you just go home and immediately go to the hotel?
Pretty much 5 hours, and then I watched till halftime. See, I don't clip though. Lucky that's the head coach that helped. I just take my notes and write my notes down and all that. Whereas Zach and all are doing the clips, offense and defense. And then we just let for 2 hours then, and we'll after this we'll go back and watch the video and do a walkthrough. So, I'll have a good sleep tonight and sleep well. And but it's more about planning. You're trying to, what do we need to do better, and what else can they do, and being prepared for any what ifs basically. And but if we play defense, in the end, I'm saying it's like the set's not going to get you open. It's the movement, the spacing, and then how do we exploit out of it.
Yeah. When you see the photo of you and Sabrina after the game, you had the best photo of the whole night.
I don't even know. I've been calling her all day.
You got big hands. That's a good. That was.
Did you take this picture? I feel like I've only seen it on your.
Because I saw it now. Because I was looking for my story and I was like, that's a good fucking picture. Let me find
It is a good picture. I remember the moment. I didn't.
Yeah. A lot of cameras, dude. A lot of cameras. How do you feel like what was your mindset going in? Because you and Sloot really kind of settled things down, changed the game in the first quarter. Were you on the bench thinking, okay, I got to do this, and this, or
Yeah, I mean, when I always try to watch the game and try to see how the defense is playing, how we're playing offensively. So every time I check in, I'm ready to go. So I feel like it just brings that sense of watching it from the outside and seeing what you can do to impact the game. So whenever I get in there, I know exactly what I need to do, whether it's running more, set good screen, rebound, or help on the defense. And that really.
All right, I'm gonna shoot. when you're offensive rebound, are you thinking about keys, angles, like pressure points, or is it just like I got to play it like as hard as I can?
It definitely is effort, like just kind of getting yourself into that position, but also kind of anticipating where the ball will go and how it's going to hit the rim and stuff. Luckily, I have like a good sense of where the ball will go. But yeah, like I would say, like 80% is really effort and just kind of getting yourself in that position.
And did you think to yourself, like, okay, when I catch the ball, like I'm gonna go to the rim? Like, did you talk about that with Sandy or whoever, or did you just, reacting in the moment?
It's like reacting, but obviously, I mean, Sandy always tells me to be more aggressive and to really like not bring the ball down. If I can't go up right away, or look for the 3-point shooters. So it really is that, and just kind of in the flow of the game, seeing like who's all around me. Obviously, Minnesota is really good at swarming right when you get the offense.
Right. Are you able to fully enjoy and appreciate this experience while you're in it, or I know you're locked in. Like, are you enjoying it?
I'm loving it. It's amazing. I mean, it really is something you don't take for granted. I mean, it's my second year in a row of being in the finals. Last year didn't go the way we wanted, but even still, like, this is such an amazing experience, and being able to do it with everybody here just.